Your friendly fishmonger here at dansfish.com. We do this live stream every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. That is 9 Eastern for those that might be challenged. And challenged? For those that might be mountain challenged. Whoops. We're all challenged somehow, right? Yeah. So anyway, thanks for coming by, spending a little bit of your Wednesday evening with us. I have a shipping report to give you, a couple of announcements, and a giveaway. And after we're done that stuff, we'll get into talking about aquarium fish, which is what we're all here for, I hope. If you're not here for that, you might be a little disappointed, because that's what we gonna do. Holy cow, Geek Boy starting us off strong with a $20 super chat saying, make sure Johnny knows he has to go to the clash this year. Now I can crash for the rest of this week at any time, says Geek Boy. Been a member for 29 months. Geek Boy, you're an OG as far as memberships go. Thank you. Thank you for your continued support. Hope you're doing really well. Now, I'm going to do the shipping report and stuff, but since Geek Boy brought it up, just so you know, Johnny's already got his hotel reserved and got his tickets to the clash. His, I don't know, he signed up for it. He bought his pass. So it's happening. Whether we raise enough funds through super chats or not, it's happening at this point. So thanks to everyone who's helped out make that happen. I'm really happy that he's going to get a chance to get out of this warehouse, get out of this town, get out of the state for a little while, and go do something a little different. All right, shipping report. Last week, we were at 99% success shipping fish that arrive alive and fat and sassy in seemingly good health to our customers. That's for 12 months rolling, so for an entire year's worth. This week, we're at 99.01%, so we have increased our percentage of success by 1/100%, which is minuscule but meaningful. This time of year, dead of winter with all the complications, it's awesome that we're not only at 99% success, we're a little better than that. What's happened in the past during the winter is we've actually gone down a little bit. Our success rate has dropped slightly just because there's all kinds of stuff that can happen in the winter. And then when the weather warms up, it increases slightly. And then the 12-month medium average comes out to be 99%, roughly. So I'm thrilled that with the adjustments we've made and the team members that we have here working at the company, that we've been able to not only maintain 99%, but get a little bit above it in February. That's awesome. So I'm really happy about that. We just keep getting better, slowly but surely. Oh, slowly. Sometimes it feels like molasses dripping. But yeah, 99.01% of the fish that we've sent to customers in the last 12 months have arrived alive and as reported by the customers in seemingly good health. So that's pretty awesome. All right. So with that, I'm going to get, oh, Jacob Messner says, Dan, he's the man. If he can't do it, no one can. Join the Fishmonger crew. Jacob, are you in a tutu right now with pom-poms? Is that what's going on? Please send a picture so I can share it with everybody. Thanks, Jacob. I appreciate the cheer. Okay, now for the giveaway. So I want to do a giveaway for a fish, which we try to do a mix here. Sometimes we do really rare stuff. Sometimes we do really expensive stuff. Sometimes we do really common stuff. What this is, I think, is a common fish that's often overlooked and has a whole lot going for it. And that is Hyphesobricon columbianus, which is the red-blue Colombian Tetra. Here's what I adore about this fish. First of all, it's super hardy. These are tough fish, but it's not mean. So it's a hardy fish that's also peaceful. So keeping a big group of these by themselves is a sight to behold. Putting them in a community tank and a mixed tank, they do great there too. They get large, but not too large. So they're gonna get big enough that they can hang with like full-grown angelfish and stuff. Especially since, as you can see, they have a deep body. They're not like something like a rummy-nosed tetra, which is long and torpedo-shaped, which a full-grown angelfish or discus or something like that could swallow these down. These have this deep body shape, so even if, let's say both this and the rummy nose at the time we're looking at them together next to each other are 2 inches, the Colombian red blue tetra is going to be a lot deeper bodied, a lot harder for a predator to swallow or another fish to swallow. So they have something that is often not picked up by cameras is the iridescence, especially iridescent blue for some reason. So it's hard to show you how blue the body is, but it's this really nice iridescent blue all across the body. Cameras just have the hardest time picking that up. See if I kind of looked earlier, no one had, that kind of gives you an idea. And then they get this nice red on the fins. So it's a really pretty fish, super hardy, deep bodied, gets big enough to hold its own and is tough enough to hold its own, but is peaceful and is not an expensive fish. So that's what we're giving away today. One that I think it's an unsung hero, I think, in the aquarium hobby. And if you would like to be one of the people that might win a group of these fish, enter hashtag red and blue. That's hashtag REDANDBLUE. No spaces, capitalization does not matter. And if you do that, you'll be entered into the drawing, which we'll do at some point during this stream. Sometimes I do it at the very end. Last week I did it, what, were we 10 minutes in? 5 minutes in? For the, I believe that was the Amazon puffer. So, yeah, that's what we're doing today. As far as announcements go, I already talked about Johnny. He's got his pass purchase to go to the Keystone Clash, which is an amazing fish convention in Pennsylvania. If you've never been there, check out the Keystone Clash online. If you type in Keystone Clash and fish, you'll find it. Or one of the mods, if you could link it in the chat, that might be even better. Another announcement is I've been working hard to try to improve the video content we make here. We've made tons and tons. So here's how I described it to one of my employees last week. I said, look, we've been doing YouTube badly and inconsistently for years, and it's got us to this point. Imagine what would happen if we did a good job, did it well, and consistently, how much better that would be. Like, so after years and years and years, our channel's at what, 35,000 subs, something like that, give or take a little bit. And we've done a ton of videos. And the reason we're at that low sub level is it's been inconsistent, and it hasn't been, like, if you look at the production value and the video quality and stuff, there's a lot to be desired. So I spent the last while digging into that, getting to know the camera a little bit, playing with it, took a couple photography and courses, and I've got to the point where I think I'm able to make something that's decent. I've got a ways to go, but I think I know how to get there. So the goal is make some videos, look at the feedback, look at the analytics really carefully, make the adjustments, and make them better. Ooh, that fish is out of focus that's swimming right now. How do we increase the f-stop without screwing up, without making it so dark you can't see clearly, all that stuff. So, that's what we're working on. So we have a video coming out tomorrow. It's on the cherry spot tropheus, and it goes into them in depth. And I'm pretty excited about the new format. So I would love to hear your thoughts, if you wouldn't mind taking a look at that when it comes out tomorrow. Or if you're a member, it already came out today. Members get videos often, a day before everybody else. But if you wouldn't mind commenting on that video, and I want your honest feedback. If the honest feedback is, this is great, awesome. If the honest feedback is, well, here's the, here's why I don't like it, and it details that out, that's valuable too. But honest feedback is what I'm looking for, because I really want to finally get to the point where we aren't just occasionally throwing up a video that's done badly. So I've been able to focus on this for a little while now. So I think what's happened in the past is I've started focusing on it, and then something's happened at the company. We got busy, we grew again. We had to rehire someone or something like that, or hire a new position because we've grown so much. And so okay, let's lean into, let's finally do it. Oh shoot, I get pulled away, I get busy. And then let's finally do it, and we see things progressing, then I get pulled away. I'm hell-bent on not getting pulled away now. Yeah, anything could happen, but you know, I've had meetings with the leadership team and everything, and like, I'm just gonna be the jerk that says no when anyone comes to me for anything else, because I really want to actually do this time. It's so easy to get pulled away from this. There's so many fires burning all the time in a business, so many things that pop up unexpectedly that I think so that it's hard to focus on it. But I think we're there. So that's the goal. We'll see how we do. But that's my hope, is that we can continue pushing forward finally on YouTube and do it consistently and do it well. And well means good information, all that, but also something that's, you know, decent to look at. So I think that there's been good information coming out, but the production quality's been just like, well, you've seen it. That includes this live stream. I've got some plans to do some stuff behind me here. It's going to be, I think, pretty cool. It's going to take some work and some planning and stuff to get it. It's in the planning process, let's put it that way. So the whole thing, we're trying to go there. So yeah, your honest feedback on tomorrow's video would be greatly appreciated, and really honest. Like, constructive criticism, if you have it, is appreciated. Just if you make it constructive, not just I didn't like it, but I didn't like it and here's the reason, or here's the point where it fell apart for me, or I liked it until this, or whatever. Or I loved it. If that's honest, if that's true, then sure. Yeah. All right. So let's, Jody P saw it already as a member. Jody has that privilege. I thought it was a very informative and helpful video. I hope to see more. All right. That's one on the plus column. It's not a plus minus column. It's a, what are the bits we could do better? And here's how this works. Like, everybody's gonna have their own opinion, and I understand that. So often something will be said, and I'll look at it and I'll be like, okay, I see what you're saying, but I probably disagree. But then maybe there's something that a lot of people mention independently of each other, and then it's like, oh, okay, I really better look into that. So that's how that feedback gets really useful. If there's something that's good that lots of people say they like, okay, good, I should probably lean into that. If there's something that's bad that lots of people mention, okay, I better take a closer look at that. So that's kind of how that shakes out. All right. Spencer Sister, I love your shipping shorts on YouTube. Made me think real briefly of, like, you know, the brown UPS man shorts. My special shipping shorts. I wear these when I'm shipping. No, I know what you mean. The short videos that have to do with shipping. Yeah, I think that's fun. So far, it's been received well. Just in the couple weeks we've been doing it, we've seen an impact on our analytics. So at this point, it seems worth leaning into. So that's the plan so far. What we do here, though, is we pay attention to analytics, and we run things for a while, and we evaluate. And so, so far, it seems like those are going to keep growing and do what they need to do. But, you know, we'll be guided, and if in 3 months we look at it and we're like, oh, actually, it's not working, then we might make a change. But so far, it's, of all the shorts we've tried, it seems to be the one that's like, okay, this seems to be working. We might need to mess with the format a little bit. We might need to mess with some things, but it seems like the base idea seems sound. Boogie Bish Fish, you're speaking my language with all that photography jargon. Love that you're improving. Slowly but surely. Yeah, there's a lot of things. So my background, I've done lighting design, I've done set design, I've done things like that in my background, which is the theater. So I've got, a sense of the aesthetic. I've got a sense of how things play together and stuff. But as far as actually working a camera, that's fairly new to me. And I truly think that fish are one of the most difficult things to do right, because they're in 4D space, right? They can move side to side, but also up, down, front to back. So they can, if your depth of field isn't strong enough, they're just gonna swim right out of it. And it's also a fairly low light environment because it's not outdoors in the sunlight. The water filters a lot of the light out. So you've got these fish moving all these directions in what can be a low light environment. And yeah, so I think I've got, I think the real, I've played with f-stops, focal lengths for quite a while, shutter speeds, all that stuff. The thing that is really helping right now is, there's a lot of things, but the main one is ISO, figuring out the best way to use ISO. So yeah, that's what we're playing with. Jody P. Oh, that's on the video. Thanks again, Jody. I appreciate your support and the feedback. Heather Green, you want to teach us when you get it figured out sometime? Yeah, I mean, that's what we do here. For those that have been following, some folks have been following for years, and we'll we kind of started from scratch here, and we would do something, figure it out, and be like, hey, we did this thing, we figured it out, and we'd make videos about it or talk about it on live streams and such. And then we'd face the new challenge, the new thing we needed to do to grow and expand. So that's kind of what we do here. We're pretty transparent. The only things I don't really tell people are who our sources are, although savvy people could figure that out. It's not like we hide it. We literally show unboxings. So, that's one of the only things. The other thing is we don't divulge exactly how many fish we're selling and stuff like that, because we kind of want to keep our competitors guessing. I actually don't mind you guys knowing, our customers knowing, but I want to keep our competitors a little bit in the dark about how big we are as a company and stuff like that. I think that's just a good business practice at this stage in our life. So yeah, but besides that, we pretty much tell everyone everything. I mean, there's some things that don't make video. Like if we have a tank crash and there's a bunch of dead fish in it, it's not like, let's grab the camera and show the world. Not that we don't ever talk about that. We're pretty upfront about how we're trying to do things, but there's certain things that just like, we don't go out of our way to show horribleness. Thankfully, we're getting better and better and better. And sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but when I look at the improvements we've made, there's a long way to go, but at least we can say we made some. Yeah. Thank you for making the hobby better, says Patrick. Yeah, well, thank you guys for helping with that. The efforts are intertwined. You guys are literally partners in that effort, because if you didn't support us and pay our crazy, outrageous prices for the fish that we charge, because of the way we want to do business and the extra cost that adds to the fish and telling your friends and all that, it wouldn't happen. You guys are literally the last step in the effort of making sure fish are treated right in the supply chain, right? So you're as important part of this effort as the suppliers. We got the suppliers on this side, then there's us, and then there's you on the other side. And without both those, it wouldn't work. So yeah. Lumi, do you think your Pro Gouramis will go well with rice fish? I may have already purchased some. To a point, eventually it's a size thing is all. Pro Gouramis get fairly large, and if they get large enough that their mouth is big enough to eat a rice fish, it's not like they're super aggressive, but that's a little fish and it looks like a snack. So if you have full grown rice fish, maybe, but if you get them at the size that they often come in at, which is 3/4 of an inch to an inch-ish, and you have full-grown Pro Gouramis, I'm not so sure. Is there a way to track your sales increase due to using shorts on YouTube? Yeah, kind of. We can look at the analytics on YouTube and see the increased viewership. That's about, and there's some other things we can do. We can also know from other analytics how many people come to us from YouTube. And so it's right now it's a basic equation of if we get more views on YouTube, more people come to the site from YouTube. It increases our funnel, if you want to use marketing jargon. So there's a correlation between how many people watch YouTube videos and how many people then show up at the website from YouTube. So, but we can't say like this one video sent me this many fish. Well, we probably could, but we don't right now. We don't need to get that granular right now to know what we need to know. And by the way, the effort isn't just we're doing YouTube just because we want to get sales. That's not the effort. That is an important part of our business model for sure. But I don't go set out making videos going, I need to be a salesman here. My true belief is this, is that if someone adds value to someone else, then that person is more likely to support that person, right? Just like a friendship or any relationship. So our goal when we put out the newsletters or make the videos or whatever we do, our marketing isn't so much marketing as outreach and information. So our goal is to add value. So we want to add value. And we feel like, and I think it's proven out, that if we are adding value to the viewer or the reader, if it's a newsletter or whatever, to whoever we're interacting with, reaching out to, then it's likely they'll want to support us. So our goal with all this stuff is to be valuable, have valuable information, maybe present it in a fun way, maybe show you cool stuff that is just fun and neat to look at. But whatever it is, that it's valuable to whoever's interacting with it. So that's the goal. And then sales will increase naturally from that. Croc the Animal Guy. Hey, Dan, looking for some cool tetras that can share a space with my black skirts. Red, blue Colombian tetras. Right. Although, I mean, black skirts already have that deep body, so it might be nice to get some other flavor in there, right? So it's not all deep body tetras. Would you recommend those Hemigramus species orange? If not, what other tetras do you have that you would? Yeah, I think the Hemigramus orange would probably do just fine. I think they're big enough, they're quick, they don't have long flowy fins that black skirts could get nippy at. So yeah, Croc, I do think that that would be a good fit. Now, I've never tried that combination before, so I can't tell you for sure, oh yeah, they get along like peas and carrots, because I've literally never tried it. But knowing both those fish, that is something that I would do. If I had an aquarium and had both those species and wanted to put them together, I wouldn't have any qualms doing that. Okay, what do we got? Holy cow! Kaylee's Reptiles and Aquatics sending the love with a $50 super chat. Bob, thank you. Really appreciate you. Oh, that reminds me, when I started getting to these questions and comments, I forgot to do what I usually do, which I should do because they're worth it, which is thank the moderators for moderating and keeping the stream running smoothly. We appreciate you. Scotty the Fish Freak, shoot me a text when you get a chance. Need to plan your visit. No new killies this week on the website. No, I don't think we have any new killies this week that we listed. But I did make a get footage. It's not done yet. I have in the can a video that features some killifish that'll be coming out probably in 2 weeks, I think. Yeah. Scotty, would you send me, the best way to do that is, would you shoot me an email? Text is not a great way for me to communicate. I'm just a slow thumb typer. So if you don't mind, email's much more efficient for me because I can get on a keyboard and it's just, I can do the same amount of work in a fraction of the time. So if you wouldn't mind sending me an email, Scotty, and we'll get that planned out. Yeah, I'm excited to come speak at your local fish club. That's going to be fun. And we're getting some good information together for it. And you guys are going to be the guinea pigs, by the way. It's going to be a brand new talk. I've never given it before. I've actually got to compile it. Right now we're compiling the data we need to do it. But yeah, I'm excited to see you, I believe, in April. KCM Aquatics, do you have any Notho rubropinus females still? And you also need a female bivitatum. I don't... Wait, I had a question about female bivitatum last week, I think. And what I need you to do is send us an email so we can actually go look. I don't know what the sex ratio is of the fish we have left. It's possible that we have a lone female bivitatum in a tank. But would you send us an email, hello@dansfish.com? That's HELLO@dansfish.com. Then we can go check. Because sometimes that happens. Like you sell the batch of killies and it's like, oh, there's one lone female or one lone male. And so usually you wait till you have a new batch before you list them all together again. And sometimes they just end up living for a year happily with the other fish because you never get to it. So, okay, Henry, what are your thoughts on using a sump as filtration versus other types of filters? It depends on what you're trying to achieve, but sumps are great for some things. External canister filters are great for some things. Sponge filters do great at some things. Box filters do great at other things. So it just completely depends on what you want to do. But man, you can get a tank crystal clear and beautiful with a sump, for sure. There's more maintenance to a sump than there is to a sponge filter, but a sump's going to give you a lot clearer water than a sponge filter will. The best filter I ever had on a large show tank, it was 125 gallon, I believe, 6 foot by 18 by, 2 feet tall, I think, something like that. Was this is back in the day, a Fluval FX5, which now is, they discontinued the 5 so they could sell another way, and I forget what they call the new version. That was awesome. That worked really, really well. But it was kind of a sump because this was an old oceanic aquarium that had a weir plumbed into one to each corner. And so what I would do was, at the bottom of the weirs were holes that were drilled to plumb your equipment in. I filled the weir on the right-hand side with filter floss, and the water would flow through that weir, through the filter floss, then down underneath to that FX5. And then when it left the FX5, it'd go up to the other side, of the left side weir, on the left-hand corner of the aquarium, and come up and out. Filter floss, and I think I had some pumice stone in the weir. And so that kept it crystal clear. So that's kind of a combination of a sump and a canister filter, because all that floss in the weir acts kind of like a chamber could in a sump. So I think sumps are great, but honestly, I think it's weird when people are like, I only do this filter, it's the best. Well, it's maybe the best for what you're trying to do and for how you like to maintain things, but maybe it's not the best for a different kind of setup. So I honestly think there's great applications for different filters for different needs, different projects. But yeah, I've seen, sumps can make a tank look crystal clear and beautiful. Mr. WWBB, thoughts on Praecox rainbows? They're awesome. Or Pseudomuga luminatus, also awesome. Do I have to choose? You're gonna make it hard. With one of Panda Trilineatus pygmicories, they're all awesome, man. It's like, do I choose between okay, I've got my bowl of ice cream. Am I gonna put hot caramel sauce on it or hot fudge sauce on it? I don't know, I like them both. Obviously. For a 29 gallon, heavily planted, moderate flow, and how many? Thanks, can't wait for my fish. Dude, those are all awesome. Okay, so if I did the luminatus, Pseudomuga luminatus, let's show people what these are. Some people are watching and might not know what these fish are. So Luminatus is an amazing blue-eye rainbow fish. Look at these things. They're absolutely stunning. They do this dance where they spread their fins out. They have this nice iridescence, nice red color. Really beautiful fish. It doesn't get very big. So because it doesn't get very big, if I did the Luminatus, I'd probably do the pygmy cory with them. Just because then you'll have a whole bunch of these itty bitty cories in there that also don't get very big. And I think a big group of Luminatus, you know, in the kind of middle to upper part of the aquarium, and then a big school of pygmy cories on the bottom, but they don't always stay on the bottom. The pygmy type cories, Pygmaeus, Habrosus, Astatus, they often swim up kind of in the lower third of the aquarium. They'll swim around, not pegged to the bottom as much as the larger cory species. Well, they've changed all the genuses now, but you know what I mean. And so I think that would be pretty awesome. I think that would be a good mix. Now, it doesn't mean that pygmy cories couldn't go well with praecox. So would pandas, Trilineatus, and pygmies. And it doesn't mean that panda cories, Trilineatus cories, and wouldn't also go well with Luminatus. They would. I think what you've got here is an aesthetic choice. All of these are beautiful. All of them are hardy. All of them are peaceful. If you get cories, please do a big group. You have a 29 gallon, so maybe a pygmy just because you could get more of them in that size tank. And the bigger the group, the happier cories are. But that being said, that's big enough for a decent sized group of pandas or Trilineatus as well. So, man, as far as how many, that kind of really depends on how you have the tank set up. And so how much maintenance you want to do, what your filtration's like, what's your water change schedule, and things like that. So an aquarium's like an organism, right? You put food in the tank. I think Cory explains this best. I heard him say something like this once, and I was like, yep, that's exactly what it is. That I've had that thought tickling the back of my head forever. He elucidated it in a way that I was like, yes, nailed it, right? But basically, a tank is an ecosystem or an organism. You can think about feeding fish, or you can think about I'm feeding a tank. And the tank can process so much input with all the natural ecosystem, all the nitrifying bacteria, all the stuff that breaks everything down, and the other things too. That's nitrifying bacteria. That's just a small bit of your ecosystem. But if you think of it that way, then it's like, how much food am I putting into this thing, which generates how much waste? And so how much do I want to manage that? If you're the kind of person that's like, I don't want to do water changes more than once a month or once every 2 months or something like that, then get a low number of fish, because there'll be less waste generated. If you're like, I don't mind doing a water change every week or bi-weekly, or if you're a discus person, 90% a day or twice a day, I don't know what you do, then you can add more in there. So that's one thought. So put that aside, and let's say I have this 29-gallon aquarium, and it's set up in such a way, maintained in such a way that the limiting factor isn't the waste that the aquarium can process and how much it can handle, with the parameters being what they need to be and the water quality being good for the fish. Let's say that the limiting factor is the number of fish in the tank, spatial wise, not waste wise. We've solved the waste problem, the water quality problem. How many fish can I fit in there? So when these cories are full grown, when these rainbows are full grown, etc., what's the max? And my rule of thumb for that is kind of this. What I like is a tank with a large number of fish in it, but quite a bit of negative space. I like space that isn't crammed full of fish. You know when you go to a pet store and you see a tank that's got so many fish in it that they're like, if you look at this section of the tank, there's 10 fish. If you look at this section of the tank, there's 10 fish. If you look at this section of the tank, there's 10 fish. They're just fish all the way across. I don't think that looks great, even though you can do that and keep the water quality good. What I like is enough negative space that I look here and there might not be any fish, but I look here and there's a whole group of them and they're swimming around, and in a minute they'll be over here. So that's what I like. So everyone's aesthetic is their own, but I would say, how many fish can you keep in there without jamming up the space? if you can keep the water quality up, how many can you put in there where they can have a lot of negative space where they can kind of group up and enter into together? That's what I think looks best in an aquarium. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully that made sense. And thanks for asking the question. Kayla's Reptiles and Aquatics. Bob's so nice, he donated twice. Bob throwing down $9.99 with a little Pippi Longstocking cheerleader super chat sticker, super sticker. Put a little pep in our step. Bob, thank you. Thank you so much. Super chats are always appreciated. They're never required though. But they do make, as I used to say, they make my wife super happy. Spinster. By the way, Spinster, are you the one that's going to get those glass headstanders? Would you mind sending us an email and letting us know how close you are to being able to do that? Could you send us an email, hello@dansfish.com? I'm just curious. We've had those for a while, waiting, and I don't want to rush or anything, but I want to know what to expect. Anyway, Spinster asks, would you mind if we send actual cash to donate to you instead of wasting 30% to donate via YouTube? Would you get upset? Do I get upset when cash lands in my coffers? No, of course I don't. Let's see here. What would be the ramifications of that? It would be a bookkeeping thing. I mean, I don't want to say, everyone, please write us checks or send us cash or something. But we do actually quite often get random checks in the mail from people just saying, thanks. I ordered this fish. I've tried it 10 times. I got them from you. It's been 6 months. They're still healthy. Just thank you. Like, that stuff does happen. And then, of course, we deposit that in the bank account, the business bank account, and use it. So it's not like there isn't a mechanism to use it. It does make bookkeeping a little more difficult, but I mean, if someone wants to send us money, we are not going to say no. Let's put it that way. That would be silly. Geek Boy gifted 5 Dance Fish memberships. Geek Boy, Charles, still at it. Thank you, Geek Boy. Much, much appreciated. And congrats to whoever got those memberships. You are now Danny O's or Danny Onella's members of the Fishmonger crew. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Patrick Berggren. Any advice on Florida's native blue spotted sunfish? It's awesome. I don't have a lot of experience with them, so I'm probably not the right person to direct you. I've seen them though in aquariums, and they're pretty great. I've kept them in aquariums, but geez, this was years ago, and the details elude me. So no, I'm sorry, I don't have enough experience to be comfortable directing you or giving you information. But maybe someone in the chat does. If someone here has kept blue spotted sunfish long term, would you chime in the chat and give Patrick some pointers? They're beautiful. They're really awesome. They're one of the coolest little natives. Oh, chat. Why you be jumping? Chat be jumping. At least it's not crashing so far. Knock on wood. So far, we have not had the chat go down, which means now that I mentioned it, that it's going to go down like, you know, in the next 5 minutes. Not Stefan, aka Stephen P 2003 Aquardix, also gifted 5 dance fish. Stephen, thank you. To you and your wife, you and Jen are awesome. Thank you so much for your continued support. I appreciate you guys in so many ways. Thank you. Taz, what's a good wild type betta to get your feet wet with care in breeding? Oh man, let me see if I have one that's easy. I think we're sold out of most of the ones that I think would be like, that's a great beginner betta. Let's see, yeah, we are, but I can still show them to you. Okay, let's show you. So I would choose a wild type mouth breeding betta. I would choose one that's peaceful and one that doesn't get too large. Betta rubra is awesome. In my experience, they've been hardy, super easy to breed. This is a male that has a mouthful of babies right here. Oh, there's a video you can watch on them. This is a blast from the past. This is years ago I took this picture. But I've bred and spawned many of these. No issues. I don't do anything special for them. I keep the tank water clean like you would for any fish. Give them food and they will spawn, and they're great parents. The babies come out big enough to eat baby brine shrimp right away, and they're easy to raise. So that's a good one. Now, on the downside, it's a little bit expensive. It says previous price $10. I don't think you're going to find pairs of those usually for less than, I'd be, $40, $60, $70, something like that, $80 maybe. This must be a few that we raised up, so we were able to just sell them really small at a low price. I bet was why they were $10. Pugnacks, I've got to get you a better picture. These were juveniles without color. Let me show you Pugnacks. Pugnacks is a very simple one. It's larger, but it's peaceful. It's a good parent. And it's got its main color feature is this nice blue throat and this iridescence on the scales, a little bit on the fins too. So that's a really hardy, easy betta to start. Again, wild type, mouth brooding, not aggressive, doesn't get too big. Alba marginata, super easy to keep and breed in my experience. Same with chinoides. NSA would be awesome if you can get this. Very easy fish to start with. Edithae, same thing. And by the way, they get more color than this. This is a young one, probably a female. And Amentoides, I'm not sure. They were hardy and they did great for us, but I don't think I bred them. Those might be a bubble nester. Picta for sure. Picta is an amazingly easy betta to keep and breed. Here's a female, here's a male, mouth full of eggs. Falx, super easy. And this is a male holding eggs. This kind of gives you an idea of what they're like when they're fully colored up. This particular species. That's enough to start with, I think, but I would look for wild type mouth brooder, not too big and not aggressive. We have I think we have Anacam. Is that, hang on, let me look. These guys are awesome. This is a fantastic betta. I would say this is one as well, except for this one's a little more aggressive. So I think if you're just starting, those other ones are probably a little bit better choice. But this is beautiful, hardy, and checks a lot of boxes, but it has more aggression than the others. Oh, was I even showing that? It's this one, sorry. Can't remember if I was clicked on the right tab or not to show you that. No way, Jody P and Budget Bonsai all still gifting memberships. You guys are great, thank you. This is like such a supportive community. Okay, money aside, super chats aside, membership gifting aside, all that aside, just the tenor of the chat, the questions, the I don't know, galvanizing of people that are weirdly passionate about the same thing. It's just a joy. This is an amazing community. Ben Price, just double checking Google, but Odessa barbs and yo-yo loaches together, okay? Yeah, I would do that without hesitation, sure. It'd be nice, put some cover in there for your loaches, just because they'll appreciate it. Whether you had Odessa barbs in there or not, I would definitely do that. And I think the trick there is have decent sized groups of both. If Odessa barbs are kept in decent sized groups, all their aggression and stuff mostly is directed at themselves. I'm the boss. No, I'm the boss. I'm pretty. No, I'm pretty. That going on. Yo-yo loaches, same kind of thing. If you have a bunch of yo-yo loaches together, they kind of do their hierarchy stuff among themselves. And not that yo-yo loaches are super aggressive, but they're inquisitive. And they can get in the face of fish and just be like, hi, 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 right in their face all the time. And if it's a fish that doesn't like that, it's just eventually stresses that fish out. But Odessa barbs and yo-yo loaches, both assertive. If you have decent sized groups of both, I think that would be the best way to do that. I know they're all awesome, but listening to you talk about them helps sometimes. Yeah, I know that's the problem. The problem with me is if people ask, is this a good fish? I'm like, I never met a fish I didn't like. Like, I like common plecos. I think they're fantastic. I think if we had never seen a common pleco before ever in our lives, or anything, real similar to them, and then suddenly one appeared today, we'd be like, Dude, that's awesome. Now, I don't think we should be selling them by the bajillions at pet stores every year to unsuspecting people with 10-gallon aquariums. But the fish itself, that's a cool fish. Like, they're so tough, they're highly adapted, they look kind of cool. And they have spaghetti poop. What's not to like? Walt, hinge mouth fish look like a pug. Yeah. You're talking about like mouth almighties and stuff? Freshwater cardinal fish, sometimes they're called. I think that's what you're referring to. Hello, right back at you, Budget Bonsai. Okay. Scrolling up because chat just did that again. Oh, but it didn't jump too far. That's nice. So the next one I can see, the next comment I can see here is from Cheryl Smith, C.R. Fishy, Kerfishy. Have you ever gotten in Corydoras gracilis? I think so. And I think I plan to again. I don't see it in the old inventory, but if it came in long enough ago, it wouldn't necessarily be there. I think I did once, but I'm not sure. Now, I can occasionally get them, but okay. What I would like to do is bring in every Cory on Earth ever and have them all available because they're each so awesome. But I tried this once, and I brought in a lot of really amazing species of Corydoras. And I sat on most of them for 6 months to a year. So as a hobbyist, I would get them all. But as a business operator, I can't do that. That'll put me out of business. I can't have fish that just sit and sit and sit and sit forever, or that really harms the business. And then, you know, employees deserve raises. There's all kinds of things that need to happen. So, so what I've been doing, if you've noticed, is when I can find a really cool Cory from a supplier that generally does a really good job, then I'll bring maybe one new species in, maybe two, and we'll figure them out and we'll get them going, and then maybe we'll bring in another one. So right now, so we did CW111s. Those did awesome. Corydoras Equus, those did awesome. We've ordered a very rare, hard to find Cory that we hope will arrive sometime in the next few weeks. And that's kind of the next step in that process. So what I've learned is I've got the fish from the suppliers that I know will do a good job usually, right? I can reliably bring those in, they'll sell, they'll be healthy for everybody, usually. We're still figuring a lot of this out. Fish health is an unmined mine. It's this very complex thing to figure out completely, which is going to take many lifetimes to do it completely. But anyway, we have those fish that we're, say, comfortable with, I guess. Although as soon as I say that, then I'll have a problem with one that I'm like, oh, we finally figured him out. Oh, but did you? Right? Anyway, so those are the core, and then we can gradually try a new species of Cory. Okay, we figured those out. Great. Now we're going to gradually try a new, really expensive Tetra. Okay, we figured those out. Okay, now we're going to try, you know what I mean? So I can't like overwhelm the system much as I would like to with all new stuff all the time. And also, a lot of the stuff that, like that one, I can find it, but only occasionally. Like there aren't enough produced that they're available in large numbers all the time. So, okay, chat just crashed, so I'll give you the hashtag again here. Sorry. First time though, hey, we made it almost an hour. Still have no idea what's going on there. And I can never recreate the problem for the folks at the computer repair shop. It doesn't happen when it's supposed to. So, yeah, so that's no fun. All right. All right, so let's do this. Ah, darn it, yes. There's no way just to What I'm trying to do is reignite. Yeah, it erased all the entries for the red, blue Colombian Tetras. So let's do that again. If you would like to win the giveaway today, which is for some Iphesobricon columbianus, that sounded weird. Columbianus, still sounded weird. Anyway, the red and blue Colombian Tetra. Just enter hashtag red and blue in the chat, hashtag REDANDBLUE, and then in about 5 minutes I'll do the drawing so we don't end up having chat crash again and erasing all that. That's what I think we'll do. Grant says, hey, I'm here. We can start now. All right, great. Grant's here. Hello, everybody. Hello, 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 and welcome. Welcome, welcome. I'm Dan, your friendly fish. Oh, yeah. Lisa the Wolf, they're getting ready for a storm. Yeah. We've been, it's been cold and we got hammered, man, which is great because we really need the snow. The mountains need a big snowpack so the creek runs nice and clean and beautiful throughout the summer. So I don't mind it. Like, yeah, snow and big storms and stuff are kind of inconvenient, but they have a benefit, and the benefit lasts, you know, through the until next summer, or until next winter. I mean, through the summer, through the autumn, all that. So, Howdy Partner says, would you buy longfin white clouds? Absolutely. That's a fish that I would love to buy. If I could get a couple hundred at a time, that'd be great. When we bring those in, we usually bring in at least a couple hundred at a time. But if you're like, oh, I only have 100, we could probably make that work. But anyone that has fish that if you're a hobbyist and you're breeding and raising fish, then we're interested. You're our favorite people to buy fish from. Please email us hello@dansfish.com. That's HELLO@dansfish.com. Let us know what you've got, what their size is, how many of each species you have, and how much you would like for them. We pay 20%, 25%, 25% of what we can sell them for, so the retail price landed. So if it costs us $2 to buy a fish from you and get it shipped to us, let's say the fish is $1.50, then shipping for that fish is 50 cents. It's $2 landed, then we can sell that for $8. That's how we do that. Will you be able to get Corydoras CW153 again? Oh, Hoon. By the way, Hoon, good to see you. And every time I list rainbow fish pictures and stuff, I think of you because you've shared some really nice pictures with us over the years. So thank you for your support. And yes, that is one that I think I will try again, mainly because of you. Mainly because I know it's one you're looking for. Usually when I can get them, I can only get like 10 or so. So I think it's worth trying. I don't know when. I don't usually order from that breeder during the really cold winter because of how they pack. It makes it really hard to adequately heat the box when it's really cold out. So when weather warms up, I do plan to bring some in again from that breeder. And they don't have the CW153s often, but if they do, then I can't say for sure I'll bring it in, but it's constantly on my mind, that fish. It's such a cool fish. For the people that don't know this fish, this is a one-of-a-kind. No, I can't type 153 apparently. Here we go. Look at this thing. Look at this Corydora. Isn't that cool? Here, let me show you something real quick. Okay, so it doesn't even look like a Corydora. This looks like a Corydora, right? This tank of a fish, this highly armored tank of a fish. This, not so much. This, not at all. Like, that's me trying to get a shot. Like, that does not look like a Corydoras. What it looks like is this. It looks like a species of Characidium, right? It looks like a darter tetra. Looks like this. Look at that. That and that. And the reason is because it's trying to look like that. It's a mimic. So for protection, this Corydora has evolved and adapted to look like this Tetra. I don't know if it's this exact species. I don't know if I can find the exact species, but these guys, or something close to it, so that they can join the school of Tetras and be protected, because when you're in large numbers, you're protected. How that works is, if there's 100 small fish and they're all, 10 feet apart from each other, scattered across the river, then a predator can come pick out that fish and get it. And then it can go to the next one and get it. If you're in a big school, you confuse the predator, and also there's so many of you that if the predator succeeds, the rest of you can still get away, right? That's kind of how that works. A little more complicated than that, but that's the basics of schooling fish for protection. So those CW153s, it's just so cool when fish do this. Like a Corydora that looks like a Tetra. And they really do when you see them in person. Interesting fish. Okay, chat jump. So, let's do the giveaway, because then we won't have, so much time for for the chat to do what it has been doing. So here we go. This is for a group of red and blue Colombian Tetras, and the winner is Running Water. Running Water, congratulations. You have won these. You have 2 minutes to chime in, leave a comment in chat, say anything like yay, or what I won, or my name is Walter. I don't know. Say anything in chat. And if your name really is Walter, that's going to be quite a coinky dink. I just guessed that. If I got that right, that'll be amazing. Anyway, it's probably going to be like, my name is not Walter. That's more like it. But anyway, leave something in 2 minutes, and then you'll have solidified your winnings. If you don't leave a comment 2 minutes from the time you were drawn, then you forfeit your winnings, and we will draw someone else. Them's the rules, and we follow thems. Okay, what food would you recommend for juvenile Frontosa? Any brief tips on their care? Mess, I've literally never kept Frontosa in my personal collection. I've cared for them in pet stores a little bit, cared for them at distributors where I've worked in the past, but I don't know a heck of a lot about Frontosa. I know they're a carnivore. I know we fed them, protein-rich carnivore type foods. I know that they're from way deep in the lake, and a few other little tidbits, but I've never kept them. So someone in the chat, if you've kept Frontosa long-term successfully, that would be awesome if you could let us know how you did it, what food worked for you. Seville Steve, I finally found a small group of J-barbs. Oh, so cool. And since their spawning period will be in March, I'm going to give it a go. Please do. And if you breed 5,000 of them, please let me know. I'd love to buy some from you. Which reminds me, for those that are probably asking, I am exploring a supplier from Africa for Congo and, West African fish. I'm looking into that. I don't think I'd pull the trigger until the weather warms up a little bit, because I'd hate for the first order to get caught in a snowstorm or something. But I am looking into that. Also, J-barbs, one of the things that made me so impressed with Finspiration, the fish store in Cincinnati, Ohio, was they had J-barbs there. When have you ever walked into a pet store and seen J-barbs? And they didn't just have them, they were colored up, they were fat and sassy and healthy and loving life. So Chris over there at Finspiration and his people do a great job. If you're in the Cincinnati area, that store is worth going to. I was blown away with how good a job they're doing over there. They quarantine, they source responsibly. Fish looked great. The only thing that didn't look awesome there was livebearers, mollies, swordtails, that kind of stuff. And it's so hard in this industry to get healthy livebearers. But I try and I fail a lot of the time. So, I can't throw shade at them for that. If you're going to buy livebearers from a pet store, be aware that it's a gamble and just be really careful when you're doing it. My recommendation would be, the ideal situation would be they've been there for a long time and they're still doing really well. That's probably the best case scenario. Ian's Aquariums, would an African butterfly fish or 2 bamboo shrimp be more likely to get along in a 55 with an angel African butterfly fish? And schools of rainbows, tetras, and cories. Oh, the bamboo shrimp, maybe. The problem is when the bamboo shrimp goes into molt, it could easily get eaten. Oh, before I dig into that too far, let's see. There it is. Running water did the thing. In 20 seconds, they responded. Awesome. 55 seconds. Cool. Thanks again, everyone. Thanks, Dan and everyone. My name is Mud. All right, Walter. It's my birthday today. That's going to be the new thing. Instead of like, okay, Karen. It's going to be like, okay, Walter. All right, running water, would you send an email to hello@dansfish.com. That's HELLO@dansfish.com. We need your first name, your last name, your address, and then we'll get a shipping plan together and get those details arranged with you. Some days I get so busy at work that I forget to drink. And then at the end of the day, I'll go get a glass of water and I'll be like, dude, I need 3 of those. So I'm trying to think here. Full-grown angels, I think, are going to be dangerous to the bamboo shrimp when they're in molt. Butterfly fish might be okay in that tank, but what you're going to have to watch out for is butterfly fish have... Okay, let's show folks these. By the way, I've been trying to source some, and I can. It's just they come in at 40 to 60 bucks would be the retail price. That's what I'd have to sell them for. I just don't think that's tenable when a lot of people sell them for 15 to 25 bucks. So I'm still looking. I've had them in the past and I really like them. Did you know they're very closely related to arowanas? In fact, if you look at this fish and you take away all the extra fins that have developed, just the body shape, you can tell arowana, right? Look at that mouth, look at that head. Anyway, awesome fish. If you look at them though, see all this finnage here that probably mimics roots or something like that. All this sticking down, all these little filaments. They're not a delicate fish or anything. They're pretty kind of robust, but there are fish that will nip at those. And I don't know what kind of tetra you're getting, but if it's Serpa tetras, they're definitely going to nip at those. There's kinds of tetras that won't too, though. So I would say, I think the African butterfly fish would do fine in that as long as the tank mates are not nippy. Now, the other thing is the tetras and the rainbows are going to be super fast to feeding, right? And the butterfly fish are pretty specialized feeders. So the way I've dealt with this in the past is I'll have like a third of the tank with floating water sprite up on it, and then a third open. And the water sprite is a place for the butterfly fish to kind of hang out. I'll feed the other fish far away from the water sprite, and then when they're distracted, then I'll feed right around the water sprite and the butterfly fish can get the food. It needs to be floating food. They won't eat well if it sinks. If it's floating on the surface, that's best. It might sink an inch or two. Once it's down 6 inches, they're not going to go down and get it probably. But you want something that's going to float for a while. So distract the other tank mates, and then you can get enough food to the butterfly fish. So you're going to have to, make sure they get enough food, but I think that's totally doable. Passing wind. It seems like you've checked everything else. Have you tried plugging the computer and modem into a battery-powered backup for uninterrupted electricity? I've seen weirder things happen. I haven't tried that. I have not. I I think actually what I think I could do is run a piece of software that would keep track, maybe, of that. That's an idea. Brett Baker, I've had panda cories for 2 years, and just yesterday I noticed a couple of juveniles. So stoked. Awesome. You're a proud panda cory parent. Brett, that's cool. Congrats. Nothing more fun than raising up baby fish. That's what I like to do. Right? That's my favorite part of the hobby, is raising babies. Super fun. Jeff Pelham's Aquatics. What is the minimum order of fish you take? It depends. If it's CW111 cories, 6 to a dozen. Those are expensive fish, so I don't have to get that many for the tank that they go into to do what I call pay its rent, right? To generate enough income that it's worth having that fish in that amount of space. If it's an inexpensive fish, then 100, 200. It just depends. There's certain fish that I'm like desperate for. And I kind of need to know what you have before I know if it falls in this category. For a while there, if someone had had 12 pairs of blue Galeris, I would have been, please, I'll take them all. You know, stuff like that. But if you have a dozen Celestial Pearl Danios, it's probably not going to work. We have about 600 coming from a breeder, a local hobbyist breeder. I think the end of this week or next week, soon. So I'm pretty excited about that. But it just depends on the value of the fish and how hard it is. The best thing, honestly, is just email us what you got. If they're less expensive fish that are commonly available, we need to buy them in higher volumes. Okay, just scrolling here briefly. Trying to get back up to where it jumped from. Oh, there we go. The Moneyless Maven. Hello, Shirley. I have a lot of juvenile longfin bristlenose plecos and a good portion of longfin albino Corydoras. That's something you'd be interested in? Let's see, long-finned bristlenose plecos. Are they standard bushies, albinos, calicos, green dragons? I'm assuming standard. Long-finned albino cories. Yeah, we're interested in that stuff. In fact, I just placed an order for some long-finned albino paleatus. So, yeah. Metal fish. Love hearing people say there's a benefit to heavy frozen water. Most only see it as a burden. Well, if it never happened, then you'd be complaining. When summer comes and the rivers dry up, you know, then we'd just be whining all the time. Yeah. I mean, it's a pain, but the benefit it brings is awesome. Javier Tano, will you ever bring discus in again or any larger cichlids? I think we'll bring discus in again at some point, but I need to build a specialized system for them. And not specialized, I need to be able to dedicate an entire section to them, basically. So I'll do it again at some point. And, geez, true discus people are the hardest. They're just, I love you, but you're the worst. If you're like a true discus, I only do discus and I only do it this way, and if it's not the way Simply Discus does it, then it's wrong. Yeah, sorry. You guys are obnoxious. I think everyone can find their own way to keep a fish, and if it works for them and they're successful long term, obviously it's an okay way to do it. Can you tell I'm a little, yeah. Are the betta Siam orientalis sexable? I think so. Big Steve, I believe so. If you want to know for sure before you place an order, send us an email, hello@dansfish.com. That's HELLO@dansfish.com. But yeah, that should not be a problem. In fact, I'm sure it's not a problem. Yeah, I'm sure. I just looked at those yesterday. Ben, I ended up getting some of Greg Sage's Odessa barbs to spawn. Awesome. Only about 45 to 50 in this batch. It's my first egg scatter, and I tried, and it turned out really well. Yeah, 40 to 50 for your first time ever breeding an egg scatter is amazing. Most of us, me included, my first few times trying to breed egg scatterers was not successful. Those fry are so tiny, and you know, it's like, shoot, I thought I could get away with feeding, I don't know, like, it was, what would it have been? I don't remember, but it could have been something like, you know, hard-boiled egg yolk infusoria or something like that. And when I first did that as a kid, I'm sure I way overfed and fouled the water horribly. But that's amazing. 40 to 50 on your first go-round, that's a good job. Any idea on the price tag for mountaintop spotted Congos? I'm deeply in preparation mode. No, I mean, we'd have to get to the point where they're actually, you know, ready to purchase and stuff, and then he and I will set that. But Mountain's hard in preparation. Like, he's working hard at it. There's a reason there's not a lot of aquarium bred Congo spotted Congo puffers, Congo spotted puffers available. It's because they're not easy to breed and raise. And so he's figuring it out, and he's doing good work, and I can't wait. But yeah, we've talked about things as far as what would be a good price and stuff, kind of casually, but we haven't said anything yet. Okay, did they have Fanaka Grandma's Blair Eye by chance? That's a true bucket list for me. Hoon, send me an email with that, and I'll check the list for you. I'll let you know. Tengri, will you be getting more Gudeids soon? I think we'll be getting more Xenotoca Dodroi. We have some Ameca Splendens right now. We also have, oh no, they sold out. They sold out super fast. Let's see, are they sold out? There's still some in the tank. They're probably sold and just not sent yet. Okay, give me 1 sec. I'm gonna check. Yeah. Okay. I think this is Skiffia. Just a sec. Yeah, we're out. We had some nice Skiffias, but it looks like they're sold and we just haven't shipped them out yet. So now, tomorrow Johnny will be listing more fish. So if we have more than have sold, there might be a couple of those listed tomorrow, but I don't think so. I think we probably sold out of those. Okay, looking here. There we go. Donald Hall. Hello, Donald. Durango, my red lizard whiptail, is growing up. He is getting his adult colors. Yeah, it's worth the wait, isn't it? So this is something that people should know about the red lizard whiptail. Let me see if I can show you. When they first come in, they're pretty brown. Yeah, there's a little bit of red on there, but often they're browner than that. Of course, no one's taking pictures of the brown ones. Yeah, there you go. That's very typical. There's a little rust color on there, right? But this is a brown mottled little juvenile fish. Then, when they turn into adults, that's fairly accurate, I would say. They get a really nice red color coming in. Now, it depends on your lighting and other things, but they get the red. And we've had people before that have bought the brown juveniles, and we've sent them, and they've been like, you sent me the wrong fish. And I'm like, just trust me. Just wait, please. Just wait. They're gonna look good, but they're gonna turn red for you. So, Donald, I'm glad they're getting their adult colors. They're beautiful. Good tank mates for Royal Acara. Almost anything that's large and large enough, appropriately sized, let's put it that way, and not a complete pushover. Royal Acara are not aggressive fish. Now, when they spawn, they'll defend a little territory and stuff, but you know, stuff like tetras is fine as long as they're shaped right and big enough that they're not going to be easy food. Royal Acara, I think, are decent community fish. I wouldn't put them with anything with really long trailing fins that could get nipped or anything like that, but even then, that might be okay in some cases. But yeah, I would. Most things, I think you can keep them with most things that are appropriately sized, peaceful, but also a little robust. Like I think hoplo catfish, like albino hoplo catfish would be an amazing companion for them. I think bleeding heart tetras would be an amazing companion for them. Some of the larger hatchet fish, like this, not the little pygmies, but like the silvers or something like that would probably be a good companion for them. There's lots of options. Okay, JD has an idea on the chat crashing during the streams. And I was going to say, it only happens during the stream. Of course, that's the only time it's up. Something most people don't think about is that browsers like Chrome take a lot of RAM. I found YouTube takes a lot. How much RAM do you have? A ton. Or let me see if I can okay, system. Let's see if I can RAM. System information, RAM. Looking here to see if I can answer that. 64 gigabytes. And it's got many, many cores. Hardware components, RAM. I forget the number of cores, but it's 64 megabytes, and the not the RAM, but the processor has like a lot. It's a fast processor with 64 megabytes of RAM. So, Ian's Aquariums thinks the butterfly and shrimp are currently sharing a tank and doing okay, but it's a lot of effort tinkering the flow each day to keep them both happy. Hoping to move one or the other. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Jody P. Oh, yeah. So this is right. Jody's saying, to get my attention, do this. See these bright orange boxes? That's what I look for as I go down the chat. And you get those by doing this. Type the @ symbol and Dan. Okay. There's 3 Dans in the chat right now. There's Dan's Fish, Dan J, and Dan the Khaki Nurse. If you select Dan's Fish and then type something and send it, that will turn bright orange for me. And that is the best way to get my attention in the chat. Thanks, Jody, for letting folks know that. Fish frenzy addiction. Do you think with the new tariff, with fish imports increasing, any tips? Will they? Yeah. Like I order fish from China. And any tips on how to calm skittish guppies? Yeah. I got a few new guppies and they don't like people. How long have you had them? If you've only had them a few days, then skittishness is normal. But are they in a bare tank? Like, is the bottom of this thing just bare glass, or do you have substrate on it? Are the walls just bare glass, or are they painted on the outside? So kind of making them have a secure area can be helpful. If the bottom paint is glass, I would definitely paint the bottom of that or put in some substrate if they're real nervous. You could put in some plants or some cover and maybe turn down the light. If they're in like a new tank that's bare glass and is highly reflective and they've got this bright light, and that might be throwing them off. But also, if they're just a few days old, they're just going to be skittish. Or a few days old. If you've only had them for a few days, they're going to be skittish. Although not always. I mean, some guppies, I'm on the wrong screen. Some guppies will get guppies out of the bag, put them in the tank, and they immediately are like, where's the food? You know, but every guppy's different. So lower the light, have something covering the bottom if you don't, and some cover would all be things that could help. Are there real heavy vibrations? Like when you walk by the tank, do you have like an older house where the whole floor shakes and they're getting these heavy vibrations or something? Or I don't know, are you like the 80s with the boom box up here and the heavy bass going? Like, you know, it could be something like that where there's vibrations bothering them, and so every time you go by the tank, they're like, ugh, and they leave. They get scared. But if there's none of that and you've only had them a little while, just give them a week and they'll come begging for food. They'll learn pretty quick that you are the hand that feeds. I feel like that wasn't very helpful, Fish Frenzy, but That's what I got off the top of my head. The spotted Congo puffer is my #1 wish list fish, says Grant. Yeah, mine too. I can't wait to get more in. Oh man. There used to be a place in Florida I could occasionally get them that did a decent job, but it kind of went out of business, so. Yeah, it's a hard one to get. Okay, TJ. Okay, Walter. Hey, Dan, my leopard frog pleco of 2 years passed this weekend. Oh, TJ, I'm so sorry. Plump white belly upon pulling him. Nothing wrong with chemistry and stable heat. Any ideas? Thanks. Sorry if you read twice. There's no way I can know without actually running it through diagnostics. What I've learned over the last while working with veterinarians and in diagnostic labs and having our own little diagnostic laboratory here is that you really don't know until you do the work. So I can't look at a fish and identify what it has. Sometimes I can. There's a few external things that are pretty obvious. You know, anchor worms, I can tell it's got an anchor worm. But random death, no signs, I have no idea. Plump belly, that could be that it got bloated or something, but that could also be decomp that happened post-mortem. Fish autolays pretty quickly. Fish decompose pretty quickly because they're in a wet, nutrient-rich environment. And so the gases that can distend the belly from the gases that decomp produces that can distend the belly can happen pretty quickly. So I'm really sorry for your loss. I have no way of telling what happened. I'm sorry. That just happened. All right, let's fix this real quick. Glad we already did the giveaway. So I'm getting smarter about how to deal with this random browser crash that likes to happen. The funny thing is, none of the other stuff crashes. It's just chat. Well, it's chat and the live stream field. But it doesn't affect any of the other tabs that are open, so. Yeah. I don't know. One day I'll figure it out. Okay, scrolling here because I got thrown off by the chat. There we go. Kind All Night. Hello. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you for a little while. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Will you be getting more Pistogram and Banshai? Really? Oh, sorry. Recently lost my female. I'm sorry to hear you lost your female. And yes, we have more on order. Hopefully we'll have some available in about a month. I wish I could say tomorrow. Actually, maybe when we relist fish tomorrow, there might be a couple that aren't sold yet that we'll be able to list. Are any new hill streams on the listings tomorrow? I don't think so. We do have some neat hill streams we've brought in, but they're new to us and they're from a new supplier. And so we're giving them a little extra time. Most of them are doing great, but we're giving them a little extra time. Mess, what food is recommended for juvenile frontosa? I think I already got to that one. Janice Lundberg, how can I figure out how to become a member on iOS? Oh, I have no idea, Janice. I have no knowledge of iOS. I've used an Apple product. I've never owned one, though. So I don't know how to use their operating system. Can anyone here help Janice? I'm sure there's a way to do it, if I remember right. I just don't know what it is. Fish Frenzy Addiction. Oh, already got that one. Do you prefer the solid yellow or sunrise hyphen platies? Oh, each day is different. Let me see. If there was only one ever and I had to choose, I'd probably choose the sunrise because it's got more color in it, and over the years I could probably more easily produce different strains out of it. So if that was the last platy on Earth, I could probably develop an all yellow strain, I could probably develop an all orange strain, and I could probably get all kinds of neat combinations. So looking at it that way, I'd probably choose the sunrise. But they're both awesome. It's just an aesthetic choice. Fish Frenzy with the guppies has substrate and only a front view. Well, then I'm a little puzzled. If the light's not super bright and there aren't vibrations happening when you go, and if you've had them for more than 2 weeks, then I have no idea. Maybe some plant cover could be helpful. Okay, one more, and then we're gonna call it a night. Although I'm having so much fun, I hate to do it, but that's got to sleep. Tomorrow's gonna come plenty early. Hater11, what a username. Who hurt you? If you have a 75-gallon, would you do a group of Amazon puffers or a group of pea puffers? Either one, honestly. Okay, if you're new to puffers, I would do pea puffers. There's less teeth trimming, and they're less expensive to get started, and I think it'd be a good introductory puffer. That being said, Amazon puffers aren't difficult. There's some teeth trimming, and they're bigger, but that's the main difference. But I mean, they're also more it'd so if things didn't go well, you would be, it'd hurt a little more on the old pocketbook. I think they're both fine. I'd go with peas though if I was beginner with puffers, I think. Yeah, probably. All right, with that, we're gonna close this out. I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank the moderators for moderating. Really appreciate that service. I want to thank everyone who's a member of the YouTube channel and everyone that gave away memberships. Congrats to those that were given a membership tonight. That's pretty awesome that people do that. Make sure I'm not neglecting any super chats here. Oh, I am. Leo, thank you so much for the super chat. Betta mahakiensis, you could keep in anything as small as a 5.5 gallon or up. Lumi, thanks for the super chat. Johnny getting a beverage at the Clash. P.S. Thanks so much, Johnny, for putting up with me in your inbox. Hey, thanks, Lumi. Any fish will do. Dan, I've never seen you flash anger like that. Discus keepers, yeah. I love them. Don't get me wrong. That was meant in good fun. But geez, trying to satisfy those people, forget it. I wouldn't call that anger. I really do. Like, I'd go to a discus convention, have a ton of fun with them, but whew, they're exhausting. Where was I at? Let's see here. I was at, I think, grab the membership, blah, blah. Oh, anyone that threw money at us, thank you for the super chats. Always appreciated, never required, but we're a small growing company and every little bit helps. We appreciate you supporting our journey. If you're active in the chat, thanks for being active. I am butchering this outro. If you were active in the chat, thanks for participating. If you were not active in the chat, I still love you. Hail the Lurker Nation. If you're watching the replay, hello from the past. And if you're listening to the podcast, thanks for listening. There, I think I did it. We'll be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I really hope you have a good week, even if you're one of those discus folks. Bye-bye.